Hello everybody, Making ZardX here, back at it again to give you another very exciting video. And for tonight, I do have my ZardCast episode 16 to go through and talk about all these things I have pop culture related, all the gaming news, and everything else in between for this show for tonight. Man, you know what? I started going through my whole entire list, and honestly, I have a dude, the most amount of pop culture segments I have to talk about, and also in terms of just the gaming topics. There was so much I had to actually cut and pull stuff and start emphasizing the stuff I really wanted to talk about and discuss the most. So yeah, this was gonna be one of those more packed shows. In terms of anybody else I have here tonight, it's just gonna be at least me for the meantime. May have somebody pop in, may not. I don't know. This probably I'm going with it in terms of the thought that this is gonna be a solo show. So last week was, it was nice to be able to have Hacks and Sonic Q with me though, but it looks like I'm running this thing solo for tonight though. So I'm gonna have a pretty good one though, and it's gonna be all right though. Now, before I get off into, normally I hit the pop culture segment though. I did have some little quick little things I wanted to go ahead and talk and discuss about here at first before we get the show really off and going though, because last or actually a couple weeks ago, I actually went on vacation. So my episode 15 podcast was actually recorded in advance the previous Wednesday from the Sunday that I premiered the episode. So I actually was going on vacation. I actually went to Disney World that week, though. I managed to spend Disney World and Universal Studios. I managed to spend like a week there in Orlando. And it was, it was a really nice, fun little vacation. Nice to kind of get away and whatnot, though. I honestly could really enjoy the little break that I managed to do over there, though. And I also managed to actually get some cool little interesting pics over here. I'm going to go ahead and throw it on the screen for all y'all that might be able to, or for all those that are basically watching this on YouTube, or if you're watching this on the podcast server, you can, click that link down below to see the YouTube version though. But I was actually one of those few people to actually be able to play my Switch on the plane. I never thought I actually would be one of those people that, be able to actually do that little thing from the trailers whenever they're just riding around on an airplane playing the Switch or whatever, in that first Switch commercial way back in 2017 though. So yeah, that's my Monster on the Ride Switch. I was over there on the plane using it though. Did manage to play quite a bit of Neo the World Ends with You, and it started off with there, and then I actually managed to finish the game. So I'll talk about that a little later on in the what I've been playing segment though. But I actually managed to go to Disney World. There was a brand new area over there in Disney World with the Star Wars section over there in Hollywood Studios. It's fairly new, and the ride I got to do the one ride where it was, I'm trying to remember the name of it though, but it was like the one where you basically get it with a crew of people. You have like people that are like the flyers around, flying around. Then you have people that get to shoot down your targets, and then you have the engineers in the very back. I was one of the ones that managed to shoot because thankfully my brother allowed me to switch with me, and he took the engineering role instead though. But it was a nice experience. It seems like most of the rides in terms of Disney as well as Universal and all this stuff, or especially with Disney, they have a more bigger emphasis on those rides that are more like simulation type, the 4D sort of kind of effects. I don't know, like I feel like more rides are like that, and it's kind of good for the immersion though. But I do kind of miss that classic feel of just like traditional roller coaster rides though. So I mean, you give them a little take it or whatever though. But yeah, so that was one interesting ride that I got to ride over there though. And also on the Disney World side of things, I actually managed to go over and visit the new Toy Story area over here because originally the last time I went over there, I didn't get I saw it like in the early production phases of it getting built, but I didn't get the ride or anything like that. The main emphasis I think was the Slinky ride, which I rode it. It was pretty nice. It was nice and cool. I mean, not anything super intensive as it is Disney World we're talking about, geared more towards the kids and family audience, family friendly, whatever though. But I did like that way how everything in that area was kind of built out of toys and stuff like that. Like you got to see Rex over here though. I did manage to get another little snag, little shot of Woody over here. That was just like right there at the entrance though. But honestly, I had a pretty good, solid little old time over there at Disney World, and I didn't manage to get a picture of this one though. But when I was over at Universal, there was also a new ride there as well. It was for like the Hagrid's shoot, I'm bad at names though, but it's one where you're riding on a motorcycle and you have somebody over there on the side with the doom buggy or whatever though. And that ride was absolutely sick over there. It was on Islands of Adventure, Universal Studios Islands of Adventure. That one was sick because you normally have your traditional roller coasters where you're going forward, right? Well, this one went forward, it went backwards, and the thing that really got me was where there was one point where the ball or the whole roller coaster it just dropped, like just a straight drop to go onto another track. I don't think I ever rode a coaster like that before though, but that was pretty sick. So if you have the chance to go to Universal, that's pretty good. Also, there was a new Velocicoaster roller coaster in Universal Studios Islands of Adventure as well. That one was pretty sick as well. I think those two were main highlights in terms of Universal because those were some of the newer rides. And then the Toy Story Land was pretty cool as well as the Star Wars stuff. So I think that's some of the most recent and new stuff. If you're interested in going to Florida for a vacation, those are some of the highlights I personally recommend right there though. So yeah, it really doesn't get better than that though. But other than that, that's pretty much it in terms of what I've been doing on my vacation. I managed to go to the beach and stuff, and did just chilled out in the Orlando area and stuff. So it was just nice to kind of get away and whatnot though. But that's mostly what I've been doing on my vacation though. Now, in terms of one other thing I want to also bring up and mention as well is I also managed to actually back my first Kickstarter project ever with the unofficial amiibook. It's a and I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up on the screen here right now though. But it's a little project that one person did. If you actually follow Amiibo News on Twitter, which at some point I probably will drop the links down in the description box down below. They're not there at the time of this going live. But I probably will drop the links a little later on though. But essentially, this is a book that basically covers every single amiibo that has ever dropped that Nintendo has released. And you know what? This has a nice little bit of history in there. It even gives you like the rough, price values. Since this dude was mainly based living in Europe, the prices for it was based on euros and stuff like that though, or pound. It's either euros or pounds. I can't quite remember though. But yes, I managed to get this book. Basically, showcases off every single amiibo that was up inside of it, though. And like for example, you get to see like the Octoling boy over there, and the Octoling and the octopus and whatnot, though. So it was nice to kind of have my hands on this, so that way, even if I don't manage to get every single amiibo, which I'm a pretty big amiibo collector, I managed to collect somewhere between 50 and 60 amiibos so far in counting. It's somewhere in that ballpark, though. But honestly, I'm a pretty big amiibo fan. Don't get every single one out there, but I like getting the ones that basically kind of speak to me in terms of either their series franchise or just how cool they look. Like the most recent ones I got were like the Monster Hunter Stories 2 ones, like the Racewing Ratha. That's a pretty sick amiibo right there though. But yeah, so also because I backed it, I got some other little cool little perks. Like I got a little poster right here that basically kind of showcases off every single one of the amiibos that basically have ever released, and you get to see them basically by series: Smash Brothers, Mario, Legend of Zelda, etc. Even got the wristbands that will be over there at Super Nintendo World as well, and then even got like the weird obscure ones that are like Japan only like that and stuff like that. Even the third party ones, all the Monster Hunter ones and stuff. So yeah, so I'll probably definitely be using this checklist though, and I think I did the math on it. In terms of how many I got in terms of number scale, like I could fill up the first three rows on that chart, just randomly putting the amiibos I actually got. Those aren't the actual ones I got, but if I were to substitute those with the amiibos I do have, I have enough to almost fill up three rows in comparison to everything else that's available there on the market though. So it is kind of crazy like that to think about it though. But honestly, it was pretty. It's a pretty nice little thing that I managed to get. And I'm kind of glad that I managed to get this book as well though. So I think he might be still possibly selling just a little extra copies though. I'm not entirely sure. You probably have to do the research though. But if you search the unofficial Amiibook, you probably be able to find the link to the Kickstarter and see because I think he was selling some individual books individually though if you're curious or interested about this though. But it was just a nice little project to back up, and I'm kind of glad I got my hands up on it though. And then last but not least, I think I had one more thing I wanted to share with y'all before I got into the pop culture segment, and that is I actually started the go on a passion project and actually start going through and collecting GameCube games. Not just collecting the GameCube games, getting an actual GameCube. Because GameCube and the Super Nintendo were like the couple of only home console games or systems that I have not actually managed to get myself. Like I got the NES, I got the 64, the Wii U, Switch, but I just messed out on the SNES and GameCube. And you know what? I said to myself, you know what? It's about time. I'm just gonna go ahead and get a GameCube and see if I can get the Game Boy player as well, because I really wanted to get one of those as well. And I actually managed to, I don't think I did too shabby. I managed to get the GameCube for roughly a little less than 100. I think it was like roughly 95 before you start factoring tax. So I got that coming on its way in, and also a little adapter that basically converts the GameCube's output to HDMI, so you can have a little easier compatibility with with my HD TV though. So yeah, I'll keep y'all in the loop from podcast to podcast, as you know, as I go through and start collecting the system itself, extra accessories with it, and then once I start getting the games, because I guess it's sort of kind of like my retro passion project, because you know the retro gaming market prices are starting to go up on some things. I was like, you know what, I might as well go ahead and start dipping in here and start trying to get some of this. I'll probably be collecting GameCube as well as some GBA games on the side though. So yeah, so I'll keep y'all informed and see if I manage to get any good deals from eBay. I mean, it is eBay, so I mean it is gonna be a little bit dicey no matter which way no matter which way you're gonna do it though. And it seems like, oh, Tempest left a comment over here saying the SNES and GameCubes are are really fun. And I was like, yes, I know, because I was like, I played some good games on the SNES, thanks to the Switch Online, as well as with the yeah, like Yoshi's Island is one that sticks out to me. Super Mario World, you can't go wrong with that. Did a bit of Link to the Past. I still need to go back and finish that game though, and quite a bit of other ones though. So yeah, so I do have some my foot in the door with some SNES games, but GameCube I really don't have my foot in the door that much. I really do miss out on Double Dash. Like that's one of the ones I really need to get my hands on pretty fast though. So hopefully I can get my hands on that one as one of my first ones. I got like there's a big going on in eBay right now. Don't think I'm gonna get it. It is fairly cheap, but it's probably because it's a new listing. I imagine that price is gonna go up a bit over time though. But yeah, so honestly, it's something I'm looking forward to. I'll keep y'all in the loop, see if I can get some really good ones though. But hopefully hopefully I can get some for some fairly decent prices though, because over time it's just gonna keep adding up though. But that's basically it in terms of some of these quick little updates though. So let's go ahead and jump into the show with the first little segment being the pop culture segment. All right, so first off, surprisingly, I don't know how the heck this happened though, but apparently the Switch Fit boxing, you know, the fitness boxing game on the Switch is apparently getting an anime series. It's like it's not gonna be like a full blown like traditional 20-minute episodes. I think it's somewhere on the lines of like 5 minutes, somewhere between maybe 5 minutes or 7 minutes though. And I think it's being scheduled to drop sometime in the year of 2021. And I'm just over here scratching my head like, how the heck did a fitness boxing game? It's still a Nintendo IP. Managed to actually get a anime series before like Mario, Legend of Zelda, my boy Kid Icarus over there. I just don't understand this. I don't get it. Nice because we're finally getting to see some advancements on this though. But at the same time, I'm like, man, I really wish that we would have got some other kind of series though. But I guess I mean you can still take it with a little bit of appreciation, because the fact that if they're willing to do this for something smaller like this, maybe they got something in the works for some of their other bigger series. At least that's what I'm hoping for. So, I mean, nothing too much more about this news story right here, though, but it was just something I really want to point out because, like, it just kind of dumbfounded me whenever I figured that out. So I was like, okay, Nintendo, okay, but let's go ahead and move on to the next one, though, because oh, this one, oh shoot, yes, 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 yes. We did finally get some confirmation for My Hero Academia, the World Heroes Mission, and it's finally coming over here to the West in the month of October, because I've been wanting to see this movie for quite some time. I heard some good things about it. I haven't been trying to do too much dirt digging into what the series, or not the series, the movie is going to be able to tell us and show us, because I kind of wanted to be honestly a surprise though. But from the first original trailer that I got, it just absolutely blew me away. And I was like, okay, COVID or not, I'm gonna go in that theater masked up and everything. I'm gonna be ready to throw down on this movie though. So that's just a quick little update on that. And I know for anybody else out there that might be watching My Hero Academia reviews, ooh, I know I dropped the ball up on that one though, because I got midway through, almost to the very tail end of the Class 1A versus Class 1B fight, right before Zuka got his like new powers with Black Whip and stuff. I don't know how I'm gonna go about trying to review the rest of that to try to catch myself back up. It is gonna be a little bit challenging to try to find a way to get caught back up though. But I'm gonna figure out something. I'm gonna figure out something. I don't know what, but I'm gonna figure out something though. But I am excited about this movie as well though. But that's basically all I want to say on that one news topic. And the very last pop culture segment I have for tonight is none other than Spider-Man No Way Home. This trailer, who it absolutely blew me away because honestly, if you want to hear anything about my full-fledged thoughts over this trailer, I do have a video on my channel where I actually did like an analysis. It was about roughly like what 20 minutes or so, where I was able to go through and actually analyze the trailer bit by bit by bit. And I talked about like the different villains that were present in there. I just talk about the overall plot, the direction where it's going from there, as well as the bigger, greater all scheme of exactly what we might be able to expect from the Spider-Man movie, though. And shoot, I've been loving the reactions from the community as well. They are not letting it go. The fact that we might have the other two Spider-Mans from the original Spider-Man trilogy, as well as the Amazing Spider-Man that probably will show up in here. I think their villains are going to show up. Obviously, Green Goblin, Doctor Ock, Doctor Ock. But I don't know about the other two Spider-Mans. I feel like if they do, they're going to be teased at the end. I don't think they're going to have like a major plot point in the actual movie. That's just my gut. I'm just gambling here. That's just my gut feeling though. But we'll see about that though. But honestly, if you want to hear more about my thoughts, I have a whole nother video on it on my channel, so you can go ahead and check that out though. And that's basically all the topics that I had in terms of the pop culture segment that I wanted to go through here and talk with y'all tonight though. But now, without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight up into the gaming news. All right, so kick things off, we actually managed to get a brand new Pokemon Presents, and this actually happened while I was on vacation. So unfortunately, this normally with most directs, I usually do like a reaction. I might do an individual discussion before I even would get to the time period that my podcast would normally happen though. But unfortunately, I missed the boat on that, so I was like, okay, I'll just go ahead and talk about it when in my podcast though. But yeah, this was like a presentation. It was primarily focused on Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Legends Arceus, but they also managed to throw some extra tidbits up in there. They managed to give us an update, I think, on Pokemon Go. Also, the other big thing being Pokemon Unite, with the addition of some other characters that got introduced in the game as well, though. So the game is pretty fun. I've really been liking Unite though, but you know what? This Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl though, it got me scratching my head a little bit because we do know that for the most part, this is going to be a game that's going to be primarily is going to be faithful to its origins, as to what they said. They basically said it was a faithful remake, and the game has did some improvements since the first time they showed that trailer off. So I do like the visual improvements they have been doing. It's like a different kind of shading or lighting in the game, just in general. So, I mean, in terms of that, it's been looking a little bit better. And the interesting thing is the new stuff they had is apparently, because I think Platinum is the one that had the decks where it had the better decks. Like, there was more Pokemon you're able to get, because I know people, like, for example, Chimchar. You didn't pick a Chimchar. I think there was only one fire starter in Diamond and Pearl in the decks, being like Ponyta, and not a lot of people probably went through that though. So people were kind of wondering, how they're gonna maybe incorporate some kind of platinum stuff up in these games, because I know some people really love platinum, myself included though. But it seems like in terms of handling some of those Pokemon, they actually added like a whole new dungeon like area to the underground system. The underground system, man, I put hours and hours upon digging up for fossils, creating secret bases, and all that stuff. All that stuff does return in this game, But it seems like in certain areas in the underground, you're going to be able to open up these other dungeons where you're able to catch other Pokemon that are only found in those dungeons themselves. So that is pretty cool to see that and the way how they can sort of kind of incorporate that up in there though. But in terms of other, things that some people might be interested in terms of like, other platinum content that could be up in the game, it's been kind of spotty. Like for example, that lady that gives you the Garcita flower for Shaman, she's in the game. But it looks like based on the map, I think they showcase off in the game, doesn't seem like the whole Battle Frontier is in there, which I know a lot of people really want the return of the Battle Frontier though, but it just doesn't seem like that's gonna ever happen. But somehow we always still manage to get the Battle Tower though. But whatever on that though. And it's interesting to see exactly what other things are going to be able to do with this though. This game isn't too far out from launch. We're already in the month late August, basically almost September at this point, and the game is going to come out roughly in the next couple 2 months or so. So we're almost there to the finish line in terms of this game though. But I feel like for the most part, if the nostalgia is there, you're gonna probably like Diamond and Pearl though. But if you're unless you're one of those people that never really played these games, then it still would be interesting nonetheless for you to go back and see exactly how the game played out since then though. But if you're not the biggest Pokemon fan and you don't have the nostalgia for it, this game might not speak to you as much as what it might be to somebody like possibly like myself or whatever. Though I still plan on getting Brilliant Diamond. I was always Diamond person because I always like Dialga over Palkia though. But yeah, it was some interesting bit of news, but nothing too crazy though. But the thing that most people really got excited for, the things they probably really wanted to tune in for, was none other than Legends Arceus. But before I do that, they also managed to showcase off a brand new Switch Lite, which basically kind of paid homage to the original DS Lite that basically had like a Dialga Palkia style version for it back in the day, and now they're basically doing with the Switch Lite. So ha, DS Lite, Switch Lite, that's pretty cool right there though. It does look pretty sick. If I were to get a DS Lite, it probably would have been this one right here though, because I don't know, I like the way how it's sort of kind of stylish and like it's not like jet black, but it's like the I don't even know what kind of color you would basically describe that as though, but I mean it's a very nice color right there though. So I really do like that though. But anyway, moving on from that special edition, Legends Arceus. That's the game that everybody was really invested in seeing. And they managed to showcase off quite a bit of new things, different environments and stuff. It seems like the game has been even more a bit polished compared to the very first time that they showcased off the game. And we actually managed to get some new forms of some Pokemon as well. That being shoot that waterfish Basculin, I want to say. Oh shoot, sometimes I'm really bad with the Pokemon names that are beyond Gen 4. But that one waterfish though, it managed to get a new form as well as Braviary managed to get a new form as well. And the name of the region is the Hisui region. And they got these Hisuian variants as well. So it is interesting. You even got to see like a new form of Growlithe with its new regional form as well though. So it is going to be interesting that basically we're going to get some new Pokemon in a sense with these Pokemon up in there though, which definitely makes it I think one of the first few games that's midway through the generation where they're actually adding new Pokemon still to this dex. And I'm like, okay, I see y'all, and that's pretty cool right there though. So yeah, so I've been kind of liking the stuff that they've been showcasing off for this game. It's still scheduled for January. They hadn't pushed it back or they hadn't delayed it or anything like that though. So take what you will on that. As long as the game seems like it's polished, it's not being sacrificed or whatever though. I'm still looking forward to these green games greatly. And shoot, just to think that we're gonna have an open world game, Pokemon game at that. I'm looking forward to it though. And they also explained in here that the battle mechanics actually changed just a little bit because normally in your traditional RPG for Pokemon, you basically got the four moves and you use it, and that's a done deal. But they added these new type of styles. One is like a sort of kind of agile style where you're able to move faster, but your power is decreased. And then you have like the strong variant style, whereas like your moves will get stronger, but it's not your moves ain't gonna come out nearly as fast as if you had the agile style or whatever though. And I think just the addition of that is going to make the games a little bit more complex, a little more strategy than probably what you would normally do when you just, pick a move and based on your Pokemon stats and your opponent's stats will determine, and as well as the moves and the stat that go behind it though, will determine who goes first, the power and all that stuff. When you start adding that the styles, then it's like, okay, now you're playing a little bit of a tiny little checker match, not like a chess match, but like a checker match, because you got to anticipate what your opponents is going to do. Are they going to do, or not opponents, should I say, like the wild Pokemon? Are they gonna act like agile? Are they gonna act like strong? It sort of kind of reminds me of Monster Hunter Stories 2 in a way, because with Monster Hunter Stories 2, they got different styles or different things. Like there's like a something like a not a weapon triangle, but like an attack triangle where you're based on like either like attack, technical, or speed. It, it's sort of kind of reminded me of that, and I like how they're doing that little twist, and it makes me curious. Some of these implications they're putting in this game, is this going to translate over into Pokemon Gen 9 whenever that does happen? And surprisingly enough, according to the schedule, ideally we would get Gen 9 next year in 2022, but because they're working on Legends Arceus, this might be one of them weird times where, kind of like how they moved from Gen 4 to Gen 5, how Gen 4 released in 2006 and Gen 5 released in 2010. I'm thinking that they're probably going to make that one exception where it's not going to come out 3 years this time. I feel like it's going to be 4 years. So Gen 9 might not be until the year of 2023. That's what my gut's saying based on Legends Arceus. So give them a little more time to work on that Gen 9 after they're done making this game. And I don't know if they're going to actually make any DLC for the game. That would be interesting as well, though. But honestly, I have been liking everything that they've been showcasing off in this game. And I'm really looking forward to this game and seeing everything else that this game has to offer, though. But that's basically all I have to say on the whole Pokemon Presents presentation within Brilliant Diamond as well as Shining Pearl. So y'all gotta let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think about these games, and are you planning to pick up either one or the other, or maybe both? I feel like in terms of the general audience, I feel like more people are probably gonna gravitate over to Legends Arceus, but y'all gotta let me know. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next segment, and that is that we actually got confirmation from Phil Spencer saying that apparently Xbox Game Pass is not going to be coming over to the Switch, because it was kind of interesting because people kind of speculated on it. It's been thrown around in the rumor mill. Like people were thinking that, hey, maybe sort of kind of it's probably in the works. Like there was even some interviews where they literally had Xbox representatives talking, and we saw a picture of literally a Switch on the back of some of these people's cabinets. So I was like, okay. I was like, well, shoot. I was thinking maybe just maybe they're gonna do some things, because like obviously we know that they collaborated with Nintendo in the past with Banjo Kazooie being in Smash, and then you got Ori, Will of the Wisps, as well as the Blind Forest on the Switch, and then you have Cuphead brought over as well. So I was like, you know what, they've been doing some collabs with Nintendo, for certain kind of games though. But it didn't seem that they're gonna go all the way and basically be able to put Game Pass on the Switch itself though. And I'm trying to see if I can pull up the little article basically explaining exactly why he said that would not be the case though. Because essentially what he's saying was he's like, and this is basically exactly what he said right here, though. He said, for us to succeed, I don't think there's another company has to get smaller. Hold on. Lost my train of thought right here, though. All right. For us to succeed, I don't think another company has to get smaller. I want the industry to continue to grow and accelerate its growth. And if you buy a Switch and if you want to play Microsoft, and I happen to, buy my kids a PlayStation, if they can't play together, that doesn't help gaming grow in my mind. The war might help one device win over another device, but it doesn't help the industry. I believe focusing on player joy, ease of play, and accessibility in the long run is the right strategy. And I think the industry will move forward in that direction, because that's what gamers will demand. The right decision, because people usually ask me about releasing an individual game or another, and that I say, I want the full Xbox experience to be something that we deliver. We have no plans to bring it to any other kind of closed platforms right now, mainly because those closed platforms don't want something like Game Pass. That's and there's a ton of open platforms out there for us to grow in the web, PC, and mobile. So all of our focus, frankly, is on those platforms. So basically, based on what Phil Spencer said right there, it's basically saying, hey, they probably went and approached Nintendo, but Nintendo said no. Because that's the thing when you're dealing with this kind of stuff, is the fact that with something like Game Pass, while yes, it's kind of good for the consumers because then you can play all those Xbox games on the Switch itself. The problem is Nintendo will get some of the cut, but not nearly as much cut as, like, let's just say for example, let's just say pull an example out of here. Dragon Quest Builders 2. That's a game that's on the Switch and it's on Xbox Game Pass. If you say you can get Xbox Game Pass on the Switch, and then people were to have their service through you, but they're playing it on their Switch for Game Pass and playing Dragon Quest Builders 2, Nintendo get a little bit of cut because Game Pass is there on the Switch in general though, but they want to get nearly as much cut as for that same player to buy it off of the eShop or physically buy it in the store for Dragon Quest Builders 2, because then the money mostly goes to Square Enix, but a chunk of it will go to Nintendo. But if you're doing it through the whole Game Pass thing, it's gonna be a smaller piece of that pie than what they normally would if a Switch user would flat out just buy it from Nintendo themselves, like on the eShop or whatever. So that's the main reason why I feel like Nintendo probably declined it though. For most fans, it might be somewhat, frustrating because it would just be more convenient for us consumers though. But you got to think about it: Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, they're all businesses at the end of the day. So no matter what, they're gonna make decisions that best benefit their companies, where they're gonna be able to actually profit off of this though, and Um, that's essentially why you know, they didn't actually manage to go through with this deal. Because I feel like they were probably talking about it for a decent amount of time, though, but it just kind of fell through. And no shocker, no surprise. I could honestly see that coming, though. So it wasn't too shocking to me, though, but I know it might be disappointing to others on that, though. But yeah, so for now, doesn't seem like Xbox Game Pass is coming to the Switch. But let's go ahead and move on to the next topic since we're already talking about Xbox in general, though, because here at Gamescom recently, they actually managed to reveal the release date for the new Halo Infinite, and it is going to be coming out on December 8th. So yeah, for people that are excited for the Game Awards and seeing which games are getting nominated for, this does make it fall shortly after the cutoff date for it to make those awards, because this could have been technically a contender for a Game of the Year, but because it's right after the cutoff for the Game Awards, it basically kicks it right on out though. So that is something interesting to keep in mind though. And for people that are planning on picking up this game for the holiday time, just a little heads up. The multiplayer will be ready to go by launch, as well as the single player campaign. But for those that like to do the single player campaign with co-op, that is not going to be ready to go at launch. And I know there might be some people that might not necessarily keep up with their gaming news information though. And some people literally might just see it on the shelves this Christmas, buy it, and just thinking they're going to get the regular Halo experience or whatever though. But that's not necessarily going to be the case. And that's just a little heads up if you're one of those people that really like the co-op experiences, because from what I've been hearing from some other people, co-op is what makes this game for some people while they're going through that single player campaign. While for other people, they honestly just binge on the multiplayer, which the multiplayer is free to play. Like if you had Game Pass or whatever, though, so you technically can play the multiplayer without necessarily having to buy the single player campaign, though. It is interesting approach how they're gonna do this, though. But yeah, so we finally got a release date, and it does seem like Halo, for now, will be releasing this year. But also, they also managed to reveal that, yes, for this 20th anniversary, they're going to actually have a limited edition Xbox Series X, as well as a new controller. And I think I want to say that the Xbox Series X is an extra $50 than normal. So I think if you want to get that one that you can see on the screen, it's about $550, which is, oh shoot, I mean, the system was already 500 to begin with though, but now you're gonna tell me it's about 550. My goodness. But then what you think is even what's even worse is that controller over there, because most controllers they normally sell for like $70, right? Well, shoot, this one was almost selling for almost close to like $200 for that controller though, because just how I guess limited that is. I'm like, what the heck? But anyway, if you're a big Halo fan or a big Microsoft fan and you want to get these, keep your eye out on it because I think technically by the time I'm actually doing the show, shoot, they already went up and you could already pre-order them, and I imagine they probably already sold out. So you want to have to be on your toes if you definitely want to get either the controller, the console, or maybe a bit of both. Because who shoot, man, oh man, this is gonna be one of those things that are gonna have some high value to it and also high resale value up on it. I don't even want to know the prices of what it's gonna be over there on eBay or whatever they're gonna throw it up on Craigslist, etc. Though. But yeah, so that's basically all I have to say on all the Halo related news that we have gotten recently, though. And speaking of Gamescom and other stuff being announced, we got a couple other things that were announced that were personal things that actually fell within my interest. One of them being is that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game unfortunately managed to get delayed to 2022. And I was like, shoot, because I was really looking forward to this game actually releasing within the year of 2021. So that is a little bit disappointing. However, as you're looking here on, you may be looking here on the screen, they did manage to actually introduce one more additional character for the game since they're going to be taking a little bit more time on it though. And as you can see, it is that woman right there. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I was like, you know what? I was like, they're doing some good stuff. They're doing some good stuff. While yes, it might sting the fact that we don't have the game coming out this year, the fact that they're still making improvements to the game as well, along with them taking that little extra time. I mean, shoot. I mean, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it any way we can give it. Because they even said themselves that we know that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle means a lot to you. We hear you and take into account your impatience as well as your passion and your trust in us for this game. For these reasons, we prefer to take our time to deliver a game that suits you and us. And adding more exciting content to this game means taking more time than we'll basically means taking more time than we'll take it to make sure the result is worthy of your expectations. And they basically said, big congrats to all the people that basically helped them, made all of this stuff so far though. So yes, they did manage to add in Casey Jones to the game. I was like, okay. I was like, all right. I was like, okay. I was like, because I don't think she was ever playable in any of these games whatsoever, though. But the fact that she actually is in this one is actually pretty sick right here, though. I was like, all right, I see, I see what y'all doing right there. Okay, all right. So I mean, you know what? When this game finally does come out, it's definitely going to be worth it. I really hope if they're taking the extra bit of time on this game, the fact that hopefully they're going to be able to actually add in online to where you're actually able to, if you had a group of 4 people, because I think it's still going to be a 4-player game. So you can choose any of the turtles or her, but hopefully you're going to be able to link up with your friends and whatever though and just play that classic beat up style as if like you were back in the arcade. Because man, I had some fond memories of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the arcade itself though. But yeah, so that's just one update on that. And then there was also another, an introduction to another game that was actually kind of interesting. That kind of caught me out of left field, and that was none other than Marvel Midnight Suns. And I was like, what the heck is going on here? Because I'm like, all right. I was looking at this show or trailer, and it was one of those, you know, it was one of those kind of trailers where it was all cinematic, not really anything on the gameplay itself. And I was like, okay. I was like, man, I kind of hate it when they do that because you really don't have a good idea of exactly what you might be expecting from the game. And I'm like, shoot. So that makes you have to go through and actually kind of research and see exactly like what is this game actually about and to see what kind of things it's gonna do though. But apparently at the end of that trailer, they basically said that, hey, we're gonna have a new trailer that basically showcases off the gameplay as well. And from the time of the show, it seems like that gameplay is actually gonna be revealed within the next couple of days. So at least by then we'll actually get to see exactly how this game plays out though. The interesting thing is this game is actually being made by 2K. You know, same people that made BioShock and Borderlands and stuff like that though. So I'm like, it almost seems like every time a Marvel game is introduced, it seems like some other studio, some other company is always making it, from like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 to your Spider-Man Insomniac games, to Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, to now this. I'm like, okay, all right, we'll see though. But based on the gameplay, we'll see if this is a game that holds up, because it still has to be better than Marvel's Avengers. I'm just saying, like, please, 2K, at least be better than that. And I'm looking forward to Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy as well. So I'll probably be picking that up on PS5 though. But the interesting thing about this game is it's gonna be available for all consoles. So it's gonna be on the Switch, Xbox Series X slash Xbox One, PS4 and PS5, and it's gonna be available on the PC as well. So you basically can play it on almost anything that you have. So it is gonna be really nice to be able to see that game come out. And I'm just going to have to kind of stay in the loop and see exactly what's going to be showed off in this trailer though. I really hope that it's going to be something good and not something kind of sour though. But we'll see about all of this though. But that's basically all I have to say on that one bit of news though. So that's going to do it in terms of all the Gamescom announcements I wanted to do. Well, I didn't put it on here though. I did not mention this though, but apparently we did get one more extra additional character for Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. And actually, that was none other than, well, shoot. It made some people upset. It made some people happy. Me, I was happy, but shoot, I even had some friends that I talked to on the norm that they were even disappointed with this news. I don't know how, but apparently that's the case though. But they've actually revealed that Morgana from Persona 5 is gonna be one of the additional new characters. Um, to go along with like Sonic and Tails, and then and as well as some of the other few Sega characters. Which for me, I was kind of happy for it. I was like, yeah, because I was like, man, because I really like Persona 5. Like it's literally probably one of my most favorite third party games that's not made by Nintendo, Microsoft, or Sony that's out there. And I'm like, oh shoot, I just had a really good fun time with that game. So to see them in a monkey ball game, see, or some representation of it, I'm like, okay, I like that though. But there's some people out there that just don't like Morgana as a character, or should not prefer some of those other characters like from Persona 4, Golden, or whatever though, those other mascots. They might have preferred them as well, or they might have would have preferred like the Shimigami Tensei style, like Jack Frost. Jack Frost is actually a pretty cool character as well. I mean, it would have been nice to see him up in there though. But I think some people probably, if they would have had the choice, probably prefer Jack Frost though. But me personally, I'm fine with Morgana. I'll stick with it. I'll still get the DLC and everything like that. My friends might disagree with my opinions, but so what? I like Persona, so yeah, I'm gonna get what I'm gonna like though. But that's basically it in terms of all the Gamescom stuff. Now the last little thing I have to talk about is one retro console managed to actually turn 30 years old, and that is none other than the Super Nintendo. And it's actually crazy to think that this console is actually now 30 years old. I'm like, what the actual heck? Because I'm like, gosh dang, I'm like, oh shoot, it's like, where did the time even gone? I didn't actually manage to get an original Super Nintendo and be able to play it though, but thanks to me having the SNES Classic, as well as having the SNES games that are online through the Switch service, I've been able to go through and play a good decent chunk of some of the good ones like Super Metroid, Super Mario World, Yoshi's Island, A Link to the Past. I mean, some really good top notch games up in there. Some of the Castlevania 4s and stuff. Um, as well. And I'm like, good gracious. I was like, there's so many good games up on there. Really do need to go down and sit and actually go through and play Chrono Trigger, because I know everybody and their mama always likes to talk about themselves some Chrono Trigger though. But maybe someday I'll get it, because I know you can get it on Steam or whatever though. But to think that this console is 30 years, I'm like, gosh dang. But out of all of the SNES games that I've been playing on there, I think one of my most favorite ones is Yoshi's Island because it's just something about it with that one game that they haven't actually managed to do or at least pull off in sequel series later on in the future as they went and expanded the Yoshi series. It's just something about it. Just going through the levels, chunking eggs, saving that baby that always go like wah wah every time that you got hit or whatever. Though it's just something charming about the game, especially that boss battle thing that's towards the once you're trying to fight the final boss in that game. Oh yeah, I just love everything that's about that game. It's one of those ones that definitely stick up in there. But don't get me wrong, there's good ones like Super Mario World, like the dun 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 dun. I mean, like literally, when I look at the SNES, like that's like a tune that honestly always pops up in my head every single now and then. Or you just can't forget about what Link to the Past. Waking up, it's just stormy and just raining and all that stuff. I mean, shoot, the games on there are really cool, really legit, and it's just crazy to think that this series is 30 years old now. If only we can get Earthbound. Like Earthbound's like one of my other top favorite RPGs of all time. Like it's in that list. And we still don't have that on the Switch Online. Like I don't know what Nintendo's doing or whatever though, but they need to get their ducks in a line. I don't understand that. I just don't understand that though. But hopefully, here's hoping that they get that one on there, as well as what's the other one? The Mario RPG one with the one that Square made essentially. That one I'll hope that they get that one on the Switch Online as well, because that one I didn't manage to go through and play through the whole game though, but I know a lot of people like that, Geno fans and all that stuff. That's a good one as well though. But yeah, that pretty much is it in terms of what I wanted to say on the SNES's birthday. So yeah, so happy birthday, Super Nintendo. Oh shoot. Maybe someday I'll go through and actually manage to get an actual legit console for you because I'm working on the GameCube right now. So hopefully at some point maybe I'll go through and collect those games. Shoot, those games are expensive, man. Like Super Metroid, shoot, man, over like 60, $70 for those games and they kind of go up from there, especially if you want to get it boxed or whatever though. So I don't know. That'll be another passion project for another day though. But y'all gotta let me know down in the comment section down below. What do you think about the Super Nintendo, and do you have any fond memories of this system in general? Whether it be you actually playing the game or playing the system back in the day, having memories with that. Maybe you're one of those people that actually like Super Mario Kart. I bet back in the day it was all right or whatever though. But me just going back through it and playing it now, whether it be on my SNES Classic or even on the Switch Online, I'm like, man, that game was rough in comparison to Mario 64. Mario 64 on up like all of those games, but SNES one, whew, that's a whole nother beast right there, a whole nother can of worms. But yeah, so that's essentially all that I have in terms of the gaming news topics that I have to talk about though. So yeah, you know what? Some pretty good, interesting topics for the week, though, and we might as well go ahead and switch over to the next subject, which would be so about that show. And unfortunately, I do not have a transitional little segment to go up into this though. And I was thinking about maybe working on it shortly before I made this podcast go live, but it just didn't happen. So maybe 2 weeks from now for the next podcast, episode 17. Hopefully I'll have it up by then though. But honestly, you know what? Last week I was talking about anime though. I did actually manage to within this past week I actually managed to watch the new Suicide Squad, and that one was actually stupidly crazy, stupidly funny, but it was still good nonetheless. Like it wasn't nothing super crazy, but it did get me to laugh. Like literally the very beginning of the movie, and I won't go too deep up in it though, but I guess the beginning of the movie ain't really kind of super heavily spoilers or whatever though. You have a group of people that are basically pulled from prison to basically do some dirty work, hence the name Suicide Squad. Because this woman was trying to accomplish some goals and whatnot, though. But anyway, she kind of gathered up a group of people from prison and said, "Hey, you need to do X, Y, and Z." So they literally recruited a whole bunch of characters that you didn't get to see on the promotional material. So you're thinking, what the heck? all of these characters nearly get died and wiped out, except for Harley Quinn towards the very beginning of the movie. And I was like, what the heck? I'm like, all right. I was like, it literally cracked me up. There's so many little things about that movie that just make you laugh because it's this dumb, sick, stupid humor. Like literally, there was like a weasel at the very beginning, and they literally dropped them off in the ocean because they were trying to pull up to a beach, and the weasel literally drowned, and they were like did anybody do their homework on this weasel and whether or not he could swim? Literally lost the person at the very beginning, and then obviously other characters got lost within the moments that happened after that. Though the fact they chunked the old weasel up in the water, and that thing looked hideous, but stupidly hideous though. And they lost him at the very beginning of the movie. I was like, what the actual heck? But yeah, that was one movie I watched. So if you like the stupid fun little humor or whatever though, crazy kind of stuff. You know, when you're messing with Harley Quinn, you're getting yourself into crazy stuff. But if that stuff kind of excites you or kind of curious to it, hey, I recommend watching that movie though, because it is pretty fun for what it is though. I'm gonna get this little water break real quick. Outside of that, it's just normally been me watching a bit more anime here and there, and watching the MCU show, the new one being the What If series. Like that's another one I've been going through and watching, which I've been really liking the series so far with episode one kicking it off to episode two, and then recently with episode three. And I also want to give a little update on this for my What If series reviews because for that, I do have two of the first two episodes recorded right now. I just got to get them edited and put up, for y'all to be able to see. And hopefully, I can get the next one recorded here soon. If I can get it recorded and edited, recorded and edited. For all three of them, then maybe by the time episode four comes out, I can do my normal, regular live stream reaction. If not, episode four will also be a normal upload as well until I get all of them caught up. And then, if and whenever that does happen, then I can actually go ahead and do my traditional live streams. It was due to me being partially out of town, and then something else I guess happened before it, or the first week whenever it got that first episode. Something with my schedule didn't work out, so I wasn't able to actually do my regular live stream for it though. But so far I've been really liking and enjoying the series so far, and it's been interesting to seeing these different what if scenarios be able to take place. Where, like, literally in the first one with Peggy Carter, the whole difference is since she managed to stay on that original floor instead of going up from the viewing booth right before Steve Rogers was about to go into that machine to get his super soldier serum. That was the difference with her being Agent Carter being up there in the booth, her being on the floor does allow her to be Captain Carter. So it's just kind of interesting to see the different things uniquely play out. And episode three though got me laughing. It got me laughing in some parts. What if Earth's Mightiest Heroes or the Fall or whatever though. And that one was a pretty good one there too. And then also like episode two as well, because that was like one of Chadwick's Boseman's one of his last few remaining projects that he had that he already recorded the lines for, and we still got to see him act once again in that episode two, though. So yeah, so honestly, that's just a couple of or a few things I've been watching here lately, though. But let me know in the comment section down below if you've been watching anything or you got any other recommendations. Because I'm always down for some recommendations for some other shows that are originals for like Disney Plus, for example, or shoot, even animes. If you happen to be watching something on Funimation or something like that, though, good anime right there. You can try my luck. Throw it down in the comment section down below and see if I have watched it or whatever, though. But yeah, so that's just a few of the things that I've been watching here lately, though. Now, for the next segment, let's go ahead and move on over to the whole what you've been playing. All right, so recently, the biggest game I would have to say that I just recently finished was Neo: The World Ends with You, because I literally started that up, on I get actually it was like a couple of days after the release date dropped because I was trying to squeeze in. I remember, shoot, I couldn't live stream both that and the Greatest Attorney on the same day. So I literally had to treat one as a live stream and do the other one as a game and watch on the Friday though. So I did start that one a little bit later, a couple of days later, had that one recorded or whatever though. And then I've been playing that a little bit here and there, but I really didn't get the focus on it after I was, away on my vacation on the plane ride there, just chilling in my room. I I had my Switch with me because obviously I was not gonna bring a PS5 with me, and I was able to actually go through the game, and I got hooked. Like after I got through the first original week, by the time you reach the second week, that's when the ball really got started to get picked up on that though. And by the time you hit midway through the second week, you just want to see how the heck everything else plays out from that point. And I've been going hard and strong on that one though. And gosh, near the very end of the game, once you get towards that, I'm like, oh shoot. I was like, that conclusion where you think it's over, but it's not quite over. They get you quite a bit of, they hit you a few times with it though, and you'll know if you're, if you happen to be somebody that happen to play the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about once you get towards the end game. When you think it's all over, then they hit you with another twist or whatever though. But that right there, I was like, oh my gosh, I was so intrigued. And then by the time I finally got down to the finale of that game, I just loved it so much because they managed to actually wrap up things, not just within the second, this game is, not uh how I'll go about saying this. They didn't just wrap up just the stuff that was present within just the second game alone, but they also managed to go back and wrap up any loose ends that they had with the original first game as well. That basically had the new day additionally, which sort of kind of led into the second game. I recommend playing the final remix because that extra new day definitely ties into the earlier parts of the second game. You can still play the second game and still enjoy it for what it is, but you're not going to be able to appreciate that game nearly as much as if you were to go through and actually play the original game first, because you'll be kind of partially lost but not fully lost, but you have a much greater appreciation when you know those characters and stuff like that though. So honestly, that was a really nice enjoyable moment, and honestly I think it's going to be in one of my top favorite games for the year of 2021. Like I definitely say it was up there for me, definitely for sure. So I was like, okay, I really enjoyed the heck out of that game though, and you'll probably hear me talking about that game again once we get kind of closer towards the end of the year when we start doing like our game of the year discussion, whatnot though, with my crew though. So that was one game I was playing heavily within the past couple of weeks. The other game was Kingdom Hearts, the first game, and actually, I was playing that shortly before I started going live on with this podcast, though, because with that game, I managed to get almost all the way to the very end. Like I'm at the very last world, or so to say. I'm pretty sure, making that final approach, kind of going up this big old sort of kind of like a tower in the sky or whatever, though. But yeah, so that's the other game I've been working on heavily. So it's basically been Neo the World Ends with You as well as Kingdom Hearts. Those were like some of the most recent games I've been playing. With me dumping the most time up in there essentially. And I think Neil the World Ends with You, I basically clocked that in around 35-ish hours. I thought I might have heard somewhere where they said it might have took about 50 hours if you just regularly playing through, but I guess I went through a little quicker than that. And I went through and played that game through normal difficulty. You can play on easy, normal, hard, or there's one other mode I think it's called like insane or something like that. I don't know, some insane level difficulty that's above hard. So yeah, so honestly, I had a really good, fun, little, enjoyable time with that as well though. So I was like, okay, I was like, you know what, it was pretty nice right there though. So I really did like and enjoyed and appreciate the game I'm playing right now. And hopefully by the time I have the next episode, I'll be done with Kingdom Hearts, so I can give my site a little mini review for that game, like I did with Neo the World Ends with You. So if you have not played Neo the World Ends with You, I highly recommend you try it out, or at least check out the trailers and stuff. And there is a demo for the game where you're able to actually play through. I think it's like basically almost all the events that happen and transpire within the first original day of the game. You can play that. If you happen to like it, you can buy the game and still transfer over your save progression over to the next over to your full copy of the game. So I mean, hey, don't knock it till you try it. I mean, shoot, you heard it here first. An amazing game. Me, my friend Mario, we love the crap out of that game though. So I was like, yes, I highly recommend playing that game, or at least checking out the demo if you hadn't already though, because just a really strong, solid game right there. And I was like, okay, I was like that, man. I just can't say it enough how good that game truly was, though. But I might as well go ahead and end it there before I go on and ramble any further, though. But yeah, so that's basically all I have to say in terms of what I've been playing this past couple of weeks, though. So let's go ahead and move on to the one last final topic, being community questions. Okay, so with this one, I did manage to get actually a few different questions from one of my good friends that I knew off in college though, and he had a few to go ahead and shoot to me. So I'll go ahead and start off with one of his first ones though, and one of his first ones that he had up on here was what Nintendo game in the second half of 2021 are you most excited to play, and will you play for the long or and will play for the longest time until the end of 2021. You know what? That's an interesting one right there because at least for the second half, and this basically includes basically anything that dropped. Was it January, February, March, April, May, June? Basically dropped July or afterwards. So that does technically include Monster Hunter Stories 2, Near the World Ends with You, Greatest Attorney, Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. It starts off with those games towards the end. So I think just kind of going through the list, I think I'm most excited to play Metroid Dread because that's one thing I didn't talk about in the podcast, at least at this point. We did manage to get a brand new trailer for Metroid Dread, and that new trailer looks absolutely sick. Like we get revealed that Kraid's back in the game, that Chozo and stuff are gonna have like a really big important role within this one. And that thing that holds Samus's up like that, I'm like, what the actual heck? Like, there's a lot of stuff that was going down in that trailer. I wasn't trying to think about it too much because at this point, they showed so much stuff and information with Metroid. I'm like, I'm already sold based on the first trailer alone. Just keeping it real though. So I was like, okay, you already sold me on the game. So I really don't need to see anymore. And especially after this trailer, they could drop another trailer, and I'm probably not going to watch it because I don't want to. I want to go into it as fresh as possible, at least from this point moving forward, though. But some of that stuff was almost unavoidable because they literally shared GIFs and screenshots of it on Nintendo's Twitter and whatnot, though. So I was like, okay. I was like, you know what? I had to go ahead and see it. There was no way kind of beating around the bush on that one though. So I definitely will probably say that that was probably my most anticipated game to play in the second half of 2021. Now the second one that he said is what list of Nintendo games are you excited for in 2021? I guess I sort of kind of answered that one already. But I guess another game I'm also excited for 2021. Um, hmm. Yeah, okay, so this is basically be anything I hadn't already played already. So that throws out all the July games. I would guess another one would be Super Monkey Ball, or not, yeah, Super Monkey Ball Banana or Monkey Ball Banana Mania, essentially. That's another one I'm excited to play because I heard so many good things about the first two games that I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me go ahead and dip into that. That as well as Mario Party Superstars. I think those are the other two games right behind Dread that I'm looking forward to the most. Now, I'm also looking forward to Pokemon Brilliant Diamond as well because the nostalgia kind of pulled me hard on that though. But I actually know what I'm sort of kind of expecting with that one game. So I was like, okay, so in terms of that newness factor, it's not quite there though, but I'm still looking forward to that game though too. But I guess between Monkey Ball and probably more so Super Mario Party Superstars or Mario Party Superstars because I get to play that game with my friends. I think those are some of the other games I'm right behind Metroid Dread that I'm looking forward to the most. And then the very last question that he managed to ask me was what Nintendo games are you excited for in the year of 2022? Now that one's a really interesting one because so far what we know that Mario Rabbit Sparks of Hope is scheduled to drop. We know that Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out. We know Splatoon 3 is supposed to come out. And rumor on the street is ideally we were supposed to have the Xenoblade 3 supposed to release this year, but because of COVID, it's probably going to be possibly pushed out to 2022 as well. So that's probably going to be another game that's going to be over there in that list. And then we have like Project Triangle Strategy from Square Enix that's going to be next year as well. And then who knows what other games that Nintendo might announce for that year. Oh, and also on Legends Arceus, we have that game coming out as well. So I mean, that's just a good chunk of some really good games that I was planning on almost buying all. I think out of all of those I listed, I was pretty sure I'm gonna buy all of those. So I'm like, it's gonna be a tough decision, and we don't know all the information for all the stuff that they revealed so far. But if I had to choose one based on today, I'll just go ahead and say it's between it's between two games. It's between two games. And it depends on what kind of mood I am at the moment. But let's just say probably Breath of the Wild 2. To be honest, probably Breath of the Wild 2, just because how groundbreaking the first games was. But on any other given day, I probably could also say Splatoon 3. I think those two in general are like my two most hyped games looking forward into 2022. And then you have other games like Legends Arceus. Xenoblade 3 could shoot up real high once I see that first trailer. I have to prepare myself mentally for that one because I really do love myself some Xenoblade though. But that is a tough question because 2022 is going to be an insane year, not just for Nintendo, just gaming in general. Because Sony has quite a bit of a lineup, and I think Microsoft is going to come up with some crazy stuff too. 2022 is going to be absolutely crazy, and I got to prepare myself for that though. So you thought 2021 was getting sort of kind of somewhere towards the end. Nah, 2022 is like hold my beer or something like that. Like I don't know. Like it's gonna go down in 2022 though. But yeah, between Breath of the Wild 2 and Splatoon 3, those are ones I'm looking forward to. Because I know with Splatoon 3, when that game comes out, I'm probably gonna literally invest in that game for a solid month. Probably not playing nothing but Splatoon because I literally did that with Splatoon 2. Like I literally played that game for a month straight, then played nothing else, and I was just focusing heavily on a little bit on the story, primarily on the multiplayer, trying to gain experience, level up, get some chunks, upgrade your weapons and stuff, buy new weapons, experiment. It's a whole process, and it takes like a good month to get acquainted with that, get acquainted with the maps and new modes, build up strategies, metas. Like there's a lot of stuff that goes with Splatoon 3, and that's why I'm also hyped for that game to come out as well. I think it's gonna drop out in the summer though, but hopefully that answered your question there, man. So yeah, so that's gonna about do it in terms of the community questions though. And also that does mean that yes, we finally reached the end of this ZardCast episode 16. You know what? That was quite a bit of stuff to go through and talk. I'm surprised my voice isn't a little bit more raspy. Managing to talk for almost about like an hour straight with like a water bar, water break here or there or whatever. Though normally I like to have these things go out like maybe 2 hours or two and a half, but it's harder to do whenever you're trying to solo these things. So usually if I'm soloing it, probably be prepared to just only do had me going and running this show for about an hour or so like that though. But it was nice and fun to be able to talk and discuss all these different pop culture news as well as some gaming news, as well as some things I've been watching, the games I've been playing, and then answering a few of y'all's questions out there though. But if you do have any other questions, it doesn't have to necessarily be associated with gaming. It could be things I've been watching or shoot anything else in between, as long as it's appropriate or whatever though. I'm willing to answer all your questions though. So if you want to submit a question, you can always leave a comment on the most recent. I will say the most recent episode for my ZardCast series. I'll check there, and then normally, and I know I dropped the ball on this for this episode though, but normally 24 hours in advance of the episode I'm about to air it, I normally would drop a tweet on my Twitter at Megazard underscore X. And I normally would drop a tweet there where you're able to kind of leave your questions there, and I'll respond to it on the podcast that following day. So if you ever have a question, just look out basically right before I do my next episode, though. But that's basically going to do it in terms of this ZardCast episode 16. But let me know down in the comment section down below, what all do you think about, in terms of the different news stuff, the Halo information, the Pokemon Presents, and then we turned around and had, the Super Nintendo turning 30 years old. Man, such great memories right there, though. Just let me know about anything that you might have thought that I talked about the show, or maybe some things I didn't even mention about the show. Just let me know down in the comment section down below. But that's gonna do it in terms of the ZardCast episode 16. So if you really like this really like this show, make sure to go ahead and hit that like button, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and that bell, or go ahead and share that podcast around if you happen to be listening on different Spotify, a different podcast service, whether it be Spotify, Google, or Apple. Just share it out with your friends and just kind of spread the word. I'm sharing this good old show right here though. But that's gonna basically do it for the ZardCast episode 16. So I'll see y'all back when I come back for my next episode for ZardCast episode 17, 2 weeks from today. So remember, y'all, until whatever video I make next, see y'all.